Hey guys, on this episode of Top Tier Tips, we're going to talk about Wednesday's Gpp Wod, which is a repeat of the same Wod we did 3 weeks ago. And we're repeating it again because repetition is the mother of skill, provided that there is skill in your repetition, meaning that there is mindfulness in you seeking to improve something in your workout. Maybe it's going to be using slightly heavier kettlebells. Maybe it's going to be using better technique in your movement. Maybe it's going to be using a more deliberate pace for your 20-minute AMRAP. So I've gotten the question also in the programming about why we're using kettlebells more regularly. The answer is fairly simple. Kettlebells are a very effective tool at really building a resilient and very strong human being. The reason being is that they are designed to be an off-center of mass. So when you hold that handle, you're actually not holding onto the center of the mass of that thing like you are a dumbbell or a barbell. That also means that becoming good at using kettlebells and moving them around well makes you much stronger when compared to the same weight of a dumbbell or a barbell because you're moving a much more cumbersome object. Effectively, kettlebells could be thrown in the world of strongman training and develop a strength that is sort of similar to that of a farmer who's done, years and years of awkward, heavy lifting and carrying. If you've ever actually been around those type of people, you know the kind of strength they have, and it is not something you can build with a barbell or balanced dumbbells. So let's talk about the Gpp Wod. You have 20 minutes of a Turkish get-up, a double kettlebell rack carry, a low bear crawl, and a brawl jump. So let's go a couple pointers over each movement. Your Turkish get-up. All right, what we want in that is to really accentuate the high bridge and to properly create a structure underneath of the weight that allows for strength and stability. So step number one is to make sure that you roll. Right? So this is not a sit-up. You do not sit straight up into the kettlebell. What you do is use this leg here, and you're going to push it to the ground, driving your hip around and shoulder on top of the elbow. So it's what we call a rolling pattern. So we're rolling up and sideways. Roll up and sideways. And I want you guys to focus on that quality roll. And I also want you to focus on this high bridge. All right, so try not to bring your hip low. Physically get a high hip bridge. And then again, use geometry. So when you bring this leg through, you're going to plant the leg perpendicular to the one in front of you. All right, so this leg is pointing forwards. This leg is 90 degrees to this one. All right, the reason being is what you just saw. I can at any point take this arm away and still be in control of my position with the weight overhead. All right, if my leg is here, the moment I take my arm away, I fall. And if my leg is in the right place but turned too early, as if I'm ready to lunge, I have no stability side to side. So I want 90-degree angle between the two legs, and we should have that stacked right underneath the hip. So again, 90-degree angle, high hip bridge, and then focus on the roll in the beginning. Roll sideways. Roll sideways. Okay? Obviously, I didn't do a full Turkish get-up. You'll do the full one and stand up. But again, if any of us are scaling tomorrow, one of the nice things about Turkish get-up is you can scale any portion of the lift. So for example, doing half of the get-up, which you just saw me do on the screen, that could be a scale that you use, and you incorporate that for a while in your training and not necessarily progress onto the full one yet until you get comfortable with the early stages. So second exercise is double rack carry. Being that I love kettlebells so much, I've been spending almost two decades with them. One of the things that really bothers me that I see in the gym is when people rack a kettlebell, they're using a position similar to a barbell. A kettlebell rack is nothing like a barbell rack. So a kettlebell rack is elbow down in the rib, nice straight wrist, and that weight is now being supported by my stomach muscles and my hip. I see a lot of people doing this or supporting a kettlebell on their shoulder. They either do it because they don't know any different and the coach hasn't instructed them to do different, or B, they're being lazy. So people put kettlebells on their shoulders like this because they don't want to build strong stomach muscles. It's easier for me to put it on my shoulder. Me, I want strong, solid stomach muscles. And the moment you bring your arm down into your rib, like a boxer guarding your rib, you will very quickly understand why kettlebell practitioners have a way stronger core than almost anyone you ever come across, with the exception of people like grapplers. All right, it's why they're used so heavily in grappling training and MMA, wrestling. All right, so tomorrow when you guys do your kettlebell carries, I want to see 2 elbows down into the ribs while you're walking across the gym. Not up here, not supported on the shoulders. Right? That's lazy. Do the harder thing, build a strong core, build a resilient, injury-free body. All right? So, third exercise is a low bear crawl. Keep yourself honest. Put something on your lower back. All right? This would be the simplest thing in the gym. Even better would be small weighted balls. If we had like a softball that actually, was like 4 pounds. But we don't, but that would even be a nicer tool. So the idea is, this is a cup of water, imagine, and we don't want the water to spill, we don't want it to splash out. All right, so when you're doing your low bear crawl, you should be able to put a cup of water on your back and then keep your spine level as you're crawling back and forth. Obviously, I'm on screen going forward and backwards, and you're only going to go forwards in the workout, but there's no reason why you can't go backwards in the low bear crawl if you wanted to. So this keeps us a little more honest so that we don't turn it into high bear crawl stuff, or we don't turn it into twisting of the hips, right? Because if we turn the hips, this thing falls off, right? It just fell. So that keeps us more honest, keeping a nice level spinal position. The last thing is a broad jump. So pay attention to how you land, how you decelerate in your jump. So I've had some people come to me and say, after these broad jump GPP workouts, that their knees kind of bother them. What it likely tells me is that the person is landing hard, number one, probably, and 2, they're probably landing and almost fighting, falling forwards. So the pressure is on the ball of their foot when they land. So what I want you guys to do is when you land, try and land soft, all right? So when you hit the ground, right, you don't hear me, right? Even if I do one at you and actually give a little bit of effort to it, you didn't really hear much, right? What I'm also doing, as you see, is I'm using my squat to decelerate. So part of that is when I land, my hips shoot back and my hinge, right? That's what allows me to avoid knee pain, is open legs, right? And sit back. So when you cover your distance and land, you don't want to land loud, and you want to make sure you sit back on a flat foot, right? So I jump and I sit back. So pay attention to that, because otherwise, if you land and you're falling forward a bit, weight's more on the ball of the foot, and it's loud, your knees, the tissue around your knees, are going to bother you the next couple of days. So it's a solution, almost always, is move with better technique, move with more beautiful, fluid motion. All right, so as always, Facebook or Instagram comments are welcome. Allows us to have a continual dialogue about these concepts. And then you can always reach me on the cell 443 742-1224. Until next time.